You mentioned the Bluebird Cafe there. You did the open mic. Did you queue for long? How did that work? How did that go?
Yeah, I got initially into a conflict because I apparently cut in line because it was rainy. Oh, it was rainy, and so I just wanted cover from the rain. But there was already a line of people, but it was a haphazard one of those like early lines where they're like sitting down and scattered about. And one of the stores did not let people stand in front of it, which which so I stood in front of the store, which because nobody was there, which meant that I was cutting in line. And so there was, but I wasn't cutting because I was a
I
musician
get
and
you.
I had no idea where I'm supposed to go or anything.
You
But
didn't know the
I didn't,
rules.
I didn't want to be like, I'm a musician, I'm playing. That would be weird. So I just kind of didn't. But the whole thing is, I was fascinated by the fact that that store didn't want people standing in front of it because you would imagine that you have this unique circumstance where people are forced to stand in front of your store for an hour or two and you have free access to their eyes and you could do whatever they want and you know about the demographics that they're music fans. And so I was just
Yeah.
thinking like this store is taking the wrong mentality. And
Did you tell them that?
I'm telling them that right now. But
I can see you
that's
doing that.
that's the way my mind, but that's the thing is that the Bluebird is in a strip mall and it's gotten even increasing interest because it was featured in the Nashville TV series. And so a lot of these people that are lining up for 2 hours to go there are doing it because they've seen it on TV and not necessarily because of the original fame of the Bluebird Cafe. And so there's going to be conflicts in the neighborhood with these businesses in all directions.
Yeah, and what was the experience of performing in the open mic like?
Yeah, it was great. It felt really good, and they support songwriters, so I felt really good because I played a song that I was kind of passionate about, sending a message about calling your parents if you can, is what, and appreciating that you can talk to them if you are able to talk to them. That's the message that I felt good about saying to that crowd, and they were super attentive, and it felt really great. And there's an excitement among all of the crowd and among, especially among all the performers, where it's like, I'm playing at the Bluebird.
Yeah.
Everybody's just so excited based on the mystique of the Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah, I was reading about that, and it is really fascinating, especially to someone like me, over the pond and um, so aware of Nashville as being the home of the mecca of songwriting and co-writing, and this Bluebird Cafe and that kind of magic of getting to perform there, and the ritual of the calling in, and the history of it, and the legacy, and so there's an I suppose what I'm getting to is that there historically there's this legacy of kind of transformation. It's where the stars were born, wasn't it? And
Mm.
that the figure of the singer-songwriter has this implicit audience that are listening on tenterhooks for something to happen, for someone to be revealed. It's There's that authenticity that we assume from the figure of the singer-songwriter, and I think this is at the Bluebird Cafe. I imagine that even now,
Hmm.
although not the same as it was, that people still wait for some kind of magic.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Really great articulation of that. And I don't really know. I think it's a little strange to me how in Nashville and so on, there's this thing of I wrote a song for this famous person that you've heard, and this kind of fixation on whether it went to number one.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that the main thing is not the story of who you wrote a song for or what position on the charts it got, but the main thing is what kind of energy is created within that moment. I think that's kind of what we're all like looking for, is just for some some uplifting kind of powerful experience that somebody can create, and that's the sort of major thing to analyze it by.
Episode 5 of Sam Liu Uncased, which is my new podcast series on contemporary songwriting practices and production, featuring DIY artists, informal conversations about what we do, how we find audiences, where we are when we sing, these kind of questions.